I want to talk for a moment now about worship. Now, normally when we speak of worship, what we mean is a posture, a way of living in which we're constantly trying to be aware of the goodness of God, of the glory of God in all of life. And we respond to it when we see it with proclaiming that worth to God, right? That's the core idea of worship. We see His presence and we proclaim His goodness to Him. Now, what I want to talk about now is a specific type of worship that we're very accustomed to through the history of Radius, where we gather together in a room, and this is people that don't all the time know each other. That's kind of the point. And people that we don't know really intimately come together and rally around certain truths set to music. And we find ourselves freely singing to God, worshiping in spirit and in truth. Truth because the words that are written on that screen or on that piece of paper or that you know that are the lyrics, those are truths that have typically been vetted to be based out of Scripture, based out of a reality of who God is. And in spirit, we have those truths that then apply to our lives, and they have different meanings for everybody and how it applies all across the row, right? And so we sing and we praise and we adore God together. And it's this really beautiful thing where Jesus is at the center, but yet we're kind of electrifying each other a little bit, and as we see everybody else interacting with God, it's a really powerful, beautiful thing. And this is part of our culture, part of what we've done for Radius for years. So what I want to do is update you on kind of two different aspects of this. One, in the idea of how we participate in worship as we emerge into this newness of gatherings. And secondly, I want to make some comments about an update on leadership regarding worship as a corporate thing for us. So for us as participants, what I want to throw at you is this. As we come back into the room and we get back together, there's going to be, just newness to it all. The type of newness that might go, are we doing this right? Are we distant enough? Are we just okay? Or this feels new, this feels odd. As that happens, that's okay, that's normal. But what I want to invite you to is a type of freedom, a type of gratefulness, a type of thankfulness, a type of risk, and a type of faith where you jump both feet in and just worship with reckless abandon. I want to invite us to that, not something that we have to warm up to or we have to be told to do, something that the sheer glory of God draws us to want to worship Jesus as if He is with us gathered, because He is with us gathered. Anything else is a deception. It's an illusion to pretend that Jesus isn't being worshiped right there in the midst of this gathering. Now, again, He's worshiped in all of life, but as we come together and we gather in His name, He promises, He says, I'm there with you, and this is what we are doing. Jesus is at the center of this gathering. We're going to be singing and encountering Him. And the idea is, let's do that in a way as if Jesus were physically in our presence. How would we offer ourselves to just speak of and proclaim and sing of His glory? The other day, actually just yesterday, we were at a cohort meeting. And so I ran over to the Harris's house. My community's in their cohort. And so we went over there and I walked up, or actually I rode up on my little mini bike. And so I got there, and as soon as I hopped off and started talking to people, I had my little mask, pull-up mask I was wearing and ready to go if I needed to. And I could just feel the newness of the moment. Like, okay, who should I go near? What are the rules? How do we do this? And little Caleb, Josh and Kathleen Carroll's son, he just walks up and just comes up to me. He's like, "You want to run?" And then he just goes, and it just takes off. And he's just like challenging me to run. And so I go from like a moment of going, "No, what are the rules here?" to like Caleb just going, "You want to run?" And then he just takes off. And suddenly me and Josh and Caleb and several other kids, we're just running around the front yard. No purpose, no point, just run. I don't know. But it was so freeing to have a child come up and say, "Hey, all I know is we got legs and you're here, so let's go run." In the same way, Jesus offers us to approach God in childlike faith. And so my kind of invitation, challenge, dare, everything to all of us is let's enter the presence of God in this communally gathered environment full throttle. Like let's be ready to look past all the things. We can say COVID 100,000 times. We can talk about masks, or we can talk about, we got so many things we could talk about. But you know what we could do? We could encounter the living God in the opportunity He's giving us right now. So let's worship Jesus together in a way that electrifies each other, that offers ourselves fully to God and fully to one another in what Jesus wants. That's what God wants from us. Now, to do this and to continue to spur each other on in this, we know that's going to take leadership, right? I mean, it's hard sometimes when you just get a beat going to get everybody on the same page and work forward. So historically, we've had really great leadership. We've had Jeremiah back in the day. Nate has been with us for a while. You know that there's been a void there recently. I mean, COVID took a lot of us out for a lot of different reasons, and Nate was no exception. He's had to pull back, and his work, even with COVID in the pediatric arena, has been so important for him. And so he's pulled back. And so as we emerge now, there is this little bit of a void of going, we know we have enough talented people within the worship team to pull a lot of things off, but it's also been a thing we've been asking God about. Do you want to bring someone up or in or around to help provide this leadership? And we believe that the Lord has at least put something in our path that needs to be tested. It's a person, not an it. It's a person. His name is Tennyson Berry, and he and I have been hanging out for, I don't know, maybe 3 months. We've been talking a lot about life and the gospel and leadership and our stories, and somewhere in that we've been talking about worship and his calling to really want to serve and lead people in this arena, to help teams of people, to help individual churches really develop ways to manifest worship in spirit and in truth. And really, I think he has a heart for developing a worship culture. And so we're going to enter into a phase with him, really effective now, where he's going to step in for roughly 3 months is what we've agreed to. And we're just going to let him sort of play with us on the inside. He's going to be not hired as a staff or whatever right now, but he's going to be basically brought in for around maybe 8 to 10 hours a week to be able to just hang out with us, serve with us, help kind of do what he's used to doing. And we're just going to be testing what the Lord is up to for the next few months. He's not all the way in as a full-time hire or a part-time hire. This is a testing time to just vet and see, is the Lord going to use him to somehow glorify God alongside us? And are we going to be a good partnership together as we do this? So he will be beginning to lead and sort of take responsibility to help serve and facilitate and really begin to move forward with some of the worship team. And over these next 3 months, we'll just be talking honestly about, is this what God is doing? Is God glorified by this? Or are we just kind of like fitting something into a space that doesn't fit? So we want you as a congregation, obviously a network of churches, to know about Tennyson and his wife Janelle. They seem to be amazing people, and we're still learning each other. 3 months, it's been a lot of meetings, it's been a lot of things, but we're still new at this, and that's why this next season is happening. He's going to be in a little bit closer, a little bit tighter, but you will see him operating on stage and just trying out some things there, and we're all going to be learning together and seeing what God is up to. They'll be jumping in to a community, it seems like, within Radius, and they're kind of learning all this as we are all kind of going together. And again, if we didn't have this leadership void right now with worship, we might do this in a different order, a more typical order for what we've done. But at the same time, we've done this kind of thing before, where someone comes in, we just pull a little bit tight and focus on each other for a season, and that's what you'll be seeing us do for the next few months. So so be in that with us, be in that place of getting to know Tennyson and his wife Janelle, getting to know their family, getting to know their story, and really testing out and seeing, is this part of the leadership for the culture of worship at Radius that Jesus wants us to do going forward. If you want to know more about Tennyson, you can look at his website. He and his wife have a coaching website, relational coaching, called Table and Well. And so you can look it up. He lives in Simpsonville. That's where you'll see it kind of listed in the Simpsonville area. And on that site, you're going to see some videos, some different things that they do. So it seems like a really cool thing that they're up to. And so that's it. So you're going to see, some really cool things, I think, as we sort of press into what God is doing in the culture of worship at Radius. This is going to be a trial period, but we want to give ourselves fully to this trial period to see what God is up to. And we may find ourselves growing a lot in this arena of worship. So grow with us. Let's all be willing and ready for God to invite us to how and when and where He wants to be encountered through worship. So thank you for your flexibility. Thank you for always caring about the people in these cases and not the performance. We want to circle around Tennyson and Janelle as human beings, and they're doing the same with us. And then this idea of worship and leadership of that is kind of like a side conversation while the bigger conversation is happening. So that's the update on worship. Super pumped. So bring it. Let's bring it. Bring it on this Sunday. Let's come together. Let's gather and let's worship the living God together. Super pumped. Can't wait to see you then.